Much of the NBA's preseason hype and attention is understandably devoted to superstar-led contenders. One team that isn't generating much discourse, the Utah Jazz. But they should be. The Jazz aren't competing for a 2024 title, but Utah's an exciting, up-and-coming squad that could prove to be this season's ultimate wildcard. Last year was supposed to be the painful start to a slow rebuild in Salt Lake City. As under new executive Danny Ainge, the Jazz hit reset by trading Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and Bojan Bogdanovic.
We're throwing all this stuff out.
Except rather than toiling in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes all season, the spunky Jazz were surprisingly competitive.
Here's the next whistle. Here's Markkanen. Drives paint.
With Lauri Markkanen enjoying one of the most stunning breakouts in recent memory, rookie big man Walker Kessler emerging as one of the league's defensive forces of the future, and new head coach Will Hardy establishing himself as a creative mastermind, the 2022-23 Jazz accidentally fast-tracked the rebuild. That doesn't mean the team's progression into a contender will be steady or linear, but it does make Utah one of the most fascinating teams in 2023-24. For one, if the Jazz stay healthy and interested in competing, they could once again play spoiler in a stacked Western Conference. Before turning their attention to the lottery late last season, this was a team that outscored opponents by 3.8 points per 100 possessions with Markkanen on the court. Even after trading Mike Conley, Jared Vanderbilt, and Malik Beasley ahead of the trade deadline, the Jazz still comfortably won Markkanen's minutes.
I think you may have something here.
Whether Utah can actually hang around the playoff race after a 37-win season last year largely depends on how real Markkanen's star turn was. But there's plenty of reason to believe the Jazz will be better this year. Kessler and 3-and-D swingman Ochai Agbaji should continue to develop in their sophomore seasons, while the team quietly added longtime Hawks forward John Collins in the offseason. Collins' size and inconsistent defense make him a tough fit as a big man in the modern game, which helps explain why he spent most of his time in Atlanta on the trade block. But don't discount how talented Collins is or how productive he can still be. Collins has averaged about 16 points, 8 rebounds, and a block for his career, while shooting better than 61% inside the arc. Before his shot fell off a cliff last season, he also enjoyed a 3-year run where he shot nearly 39% from deep. And he's still just 25 years old.
How long's he been here now?
Sure, his contract is a bit concerning, and he's an imperfect fit beside Kessler if he can't find his shooting range again. But adding a youngster like Collins for essentially nothing is exactly the kind of move the Jazz can afford to make right now. Plus, Utah doesn't have any other bad money on the books, as the Jazz have less money committed to next year's squad than any other team. That financial flexibility and a treasure trove of assets are what make the rising Jazz truly fascinating, as Utah can head in any number of directions this season. If Markkanen is once again an all-star, Kessler takes another step towards his Defensive Player of the Year potential, Collins fits in, Colin Sexton bounces back from injury, and veterans like Jordan Clarkson and Kelly Olynyk simply play to their standards, the Jazz could find themselves in the playoff mix in the loaded West. And if Utah once again exceeds expectations and finds itself in the top half of the West as trade season looms, would Ainge and company consider making the seismic win-now move few other teams are capable of pulling off? In addition to a bevy of young talent, which now includes 2023 All-Summer League first-team selection Keontae George, 9th overall pick Taylor Hendricks, and fellow first-rounder Bryce Sensabaugh, the Jazz own up to 12 first-round picks between 2025 and 2029, a haul that includes multiple pick swaps with Cleveland and Minnesota.
What else could we pile on?
Utah could make a considerable move to boost its 2024 odds and still have the leftover asset capital required to make an even bigger splash later. Meanwhile, it stands to reason that tech billionaire and homegrown Jazz fan Ryan Smith might be more willing to spend as needed than small market owners usually are. Of course, the Jazz are also just as liable to go the other way. If Smith, Ainge and company decide they want to slow play things rather than buying too much stock in last season's performance, they could easily turn into one of the league's most aggressive sellers again. Clarkson and Olynyk can both help contenders, while Sexton, Talen Horton-Tucker, and even Reclamation Project Chris Dunn could prove to be commodities at the 2024 deadline. The Jazz could also be a dumping ground for bad money, allowing Utah to stockpile even more picks. Heck, if the Jazz really wanted to go all in on Kessler's timeline, it's not inconceivable to see them selling high on marketing. The point is, no team enters the season with as many options or possibilities as the Jazz, and few teams can shake up the association this season like Utah can.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.